Hello, welcome to Subjective Insights. So, I ain't done anything for a long time, and that's because, well, in a sense, I haven't been living utterly truthfully to myself. Feel often my speech is hindered if I'm being inconsistent with myself. I feel like I'm being a liar then, and it stumps me. But during this whole kind of hiatus from putting anything on YouTube, it's been a massive learning experience, or rather, maybe finally the lesson that's been being hammered home over the last 3 years with my unsuccessful relationship had finally come in. Now, a lot of people they complain about their spouse, and you hear a lot of people like a lot of blokes and a lot of women, and from the way they speak about their relationships, it would appear as if they were saints, that they had no fault, and it's showing you that they haven't really figured out that they're at fault. So, there are many reasons why relationships don't work, and quite often it's due to incompatibility. Like, say, the two individuals don't really share any activities they find intrinsically joyful with each other. And that there's also a lot of kind of social propaganda out there now. I think a lot of it's dying with the rise of feminism, and this is good. One of these is that women are there to be served, that they're these dainty kind of weak creatures that us men have to look after. It's behind all the old kind of gestures of romance and gentlemanliness, opening up the door for the woman, letting the woman go first, women and children first in boats, on ships, which is bullshit, because the woman and the man are equally valuable in terms of propagating the human species. It should just be kids first, and then maybe the old and frail, the people that can't help other people put stuff on ships. Anyway, what generally happens when one of the things that I've learned is that I still have attachment issues. I can talk the talk, and I understand how desire is kind of inefficacious in getting what it wants. Like in my relationship, when I first started going out with her, I wanted that sexual, romantic, intimate relationship so much, and I'm 31 now, right? And she was the first long-term relationship I ever had, and I felt like a drowning man hanging on to a lifebuoy. Even if that lifebuoy was a shitty lifebuoy, or wasn't really right for me, I would still cling to it because I didn't want to be swimming in the sea on my own. There was a desperation there. And for the first month or so when I was with her, I could maintain this fictitious self, which would be me being serving, doing stuff for her, just trying to make myself valuable. Like I would be getting up and this is just in the first month. I didn't do it for long. I couldn't maintain it. But I would get up half an hour before her so that I could make her breakfast and get her lunch and de-ice the car. I was giving her so much money as well. And after a while of doing this, a certain resentment builds up because there is already then a state of conflict between your natural state of being and this fake state of being that you're presenting in order to get what you want. And then that leads to like a kind of anger towards that person, and then that person gets angry when you're not living up to the mask that you wore when you first started wooing them. And rightly so. That I was saying all sorts of things, that I could be the perfect boyfriend, that I could do this, that, and the other, all inexperienced. My longest relationship prior to that had been, I think, maybe a month. So I faked myself. I pretended to be other than I was. And it couldn't last, and it blew up. And then we keep going back because we both had attachment issues, and in a sense I think she kind of got a bit dependent upon me. And it's like what needs to happen. We need to be a bit more callous when it comes to dating and courtship. We need, like, if you're wooing a woman and you offer her to go out on a date, you should first of all not compromise. This is just me thinking rationally about the best way in which I could find somebody who's compatible with me. So I would offer dates that I would find enjoyable and pleasant. I should offer dates that I would find enjoyable and pleasant. And if the girl is like, oh, that's boring, I don't want to do that, well, she's signalling incompatibility, so I should be like, fair enough, jog on, I'll try the next one. But that's incredibly difficult because women are beautiful and they're so desirable, especially to us men. I'm sure it's the same vice versa. I can only speak from my perspective. And so the tendency is to kind of accept and agree, become a yes man to the woman, and let her determine everything. And then it just builds up anger and resentment. from both sides of the camp, I think, because in a sense, a person, when you start doing everything for somebody, they lose their dignity. They lose their, they say you should never bite the hand that feeds you, but very often we do, because we feel ashamed that we've got to feed from our hand. And so it was bad news for both of us. By me doing stuff for her, I was essentially enabling her, which was to infantilize her, make her less capable and more dependent upon me. I mean, I probably wasn't. I can't remember consciously thinking through this at the time, but I imagine that in the subconscious, which is quite a strategizing little bastard, the subconscious is, that idea was there. Anyway, goodbye.